Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Gift of Giving. My name is Stephen Murray. I'm the host, and this show focuses on foundations and non-profits and 501c3s here in the state of Nevada, and those individuals who are giving so much back to our community and making it much brighter and better for us all. Today's guest, I would like to welcome Frank Pizarro. He's the founder of the Firefighter Memorial Transport. Thank you, Frank, for being on the program and for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
First, please give us a brief overview of the organization and when you founded it.
Well, I founded it in 2020, just before COVID hit. And basically what we do is we honor fallen heroes, whether they be veterans, first responders, and we support their families and the community surrounding.
Wow. Wonderful cause, wonderful cause. And normally I always ask what's the catalyst for the person getting involved in that organization. But there's a video of yourself that I think is it's a biography, and I think it explains very, very well why you founded this organization. Let's turn around and have a look at it.
I had the honor of serving in our nation's military, doing 2 tours of duty in Iraq. And after I got out of there, I had the honor eventually of being accepted onto the New York City Fire Department, where I served 22 years. It's a brotherhood that I will always remember. I served down at Ground Zero during 9/11. I was called to duty. It's a day that I'll never forget, and it's a day that's affected all of us as Americans. I spent down there about 5 or 6 months after the initial day, helped to retrieve, recover, and rescue all those guys. 343 firefighters died on that day, and over 200 have died since from there. I'm suffering from some things, and the thing is, regardless of the suffering, I don't know too many guys who would tell you that they wouldn't do it all over again. What got me to Nevada was I was diagnosed with several 9/11 related illnesses. I've been honored by the embracing that you guys have done here, and I feel it's time for me to give back, not only to the Brotherhood, but to the state of Nevada. I decided to start this charity, the Firefighter Memorial Transport, to service the fallen firefighters, retired and active, and their families during their hard times, and give them the honor send-off that they deserve. And today we're sitting here at Fire Trucks Unlimited, where we have our 1991 Pierce that's getting retrofitted and beautified. We have it here getting ready to get chromed out and painted and decorated and outfitted with a lift in order to carry the caskets of those who have fallen in service. It's a piece of me, and I get to continue to serve in some capacity through this charity.
I think that's an amazing biography, and thank you for all that you've done for firefighters in the past and for being there on 9/11 when you were needed most. I was quite surprised that you mentioned at the end that you wanted to do this new foundation because you want to give back to the community. I think most of the viewers of this program would agree with me that you have more than given back to the community with all the years you've spent as a firefighter serving your community and what you've done since you've moved here to Nevada. So thank you for everything that you've done in the past and what you're doing now.
Thank you.
Notice your mission says, honor those who put service before self. You've certainly exemplified that in what you've done. So when you first started this out, you did it solely for firefighters, and then you expanded it to include first responders, veterans, police. What made you decide to expand the program?
Firefighter jumped out first because I had done 22 years with the New York City Fire Department, and it was still very in the front for me. And then upon talking to people and remembering all the people I served with, I realized that we couldn't leave them out. I had the honor of serving in the military where we went to Iraq the first time in the early 90s. And so I do have a military background and a first responder background. And then, of course, our police officers are very, very important.
Of course.
So I just wanted to make sure that everybody was honored for their service. All powerful in all different ways, and all deserving.
Well, firstly, thank you very much for your service. I wasn't aware that you served in the military earlier, so thank you very much for your service. On your website, it says you provide support to families and the children of the fallen heroes as well. How does that manifest itself? What kind of support?
Well, we do give financial support where possible. We do provide scholarships for the children of the fallen. Sometimes they need help with their arrangements and those kind of things. We do help the community as well. We provide coat drives and food drives and school supplies and such. And we'd like to be a one-stop shop, but because we need to bring a good light to veterans and first responders, it's rare that they get a good pat on the back, and sometimes we tend to point out those things that are not so great, but we honor them because their service, without their service, we couldn't do what we do.
Absolutely.
Freedom is not free.
No.
And the ability for us to just do this interview is because people made sacrifices, and people make it safe for us to be able to do this without thinking about anything but what we're doing at the time. So that's really why I do it. And we can't forget the families, because at the end of the day, when you honor the fallen, you're really honoring the families.
Yes.
Because unfortunately, those who pass on are not able to see, but they can find comfort, and their families can find comfort knowing that their work was not in vain, and that they're being honored for everything they do.
Yes. Very, very nice. And some of the support that you give to families, like the scholarships and what have you, I'd like to talk about that a little bit more in the second section of the program. You help with the families when their loved ones have passed. How many families have you helped since you started this foundation?
Well, getting the word out has been something.
Yes, of course.
It's been a journey in its own.
Yes.
So most of what we've done so far has been through word of mouth, and it's been pretty successful. I mean, we lost the first couple of years because of COVID, but we've done over a dozen since, and as the word spreads, we're careful what you ask for, right? Because it might be something that everybody may want to utilize, because it's something different, and it shows what they actually did and how they actually served.
Absolutely.
And we have to remember that it's really easy to say thank you for your service, which is always a great thing, but we have to remember that what they gave ultimately was more than most people give. When people are running out, they're running in. And so we have to remember them, every day. And those who are still active, it's very important that we honor them too.
Of course. Of course. And I noticed that you have specialized vehicles for each of the first responders and the firemen and the veterans. Let's talk about some of those vehicles, and I know John's going to put some of the pictures out. The first one you have is the Firefighter's vehicle that you transport the bodies. You had to have that retrofitted, I'm assuming, and where do you get the vehicles from?
I found the fire truck in New Jersey.
Oh wow!
And we worked towards getting that, and we were able to purchase that, and we brought it out here, and we had it retrofitted with a lift, because of course they weren't meant for that. So we had a lift retrofitted, so it lifts the casket up on top, flag drip casket, and then we did all the decaling and stuff, and we dedicated to one of our fallen heroes from New York who fought to get us our benefits. And it was dedicated to the 343 firefighters that died on that day, on 9/11 in 2001. So that was our first, and my first love, because I had just come freshly out of service with
Sure.
the FDNY. So
Yes.
that was my first love and our first project.
Wow. But what a legacy too. Your very first project. Very, very fitting. Very, very fitting. Um, then you also have now vehicles for the veterans,
Yes, sir.
and they're totally different. How did you come across those vehicles?
Well,
And you had to
I
do some
searched
design
online.
there.
Yeah, I searched online for something that represented veterans and military personnel. So I found a location in Oklahoma that had Humvees, battle-used Humvees, and this one in particularly stood out to me. And so it had a trailer, and it was an uncovered trailer.
Okay.
And so I got it over here, and I investigated and researched how I could make this work. And so I found a company who did covers for trailers,
Uh-huh.
and we found them in Pennsylvania. And
Good
they
grief.
donated the cover to us, and we had that retrofitted. We had glass put in, and we found a local boat shop that not only put the glass in the trailer, but also put a lift in the trailer. So that way we could carry veterans and you could see their flag draped casket going down the road through the glass. And then we had it decaled by Patrick Signs here in Las Vegas.
Right.
And they did a beautiful job. And so now we have a caisson, a carrier
Yes.
for veterans.
And it's amazing. You can see a lot of work went into retrofitting that as well. Now I understand you've got one. You've got one coming up for police, but you're still working on that.
Yeah, we
right?
have gotten it, but now it's in the process of getting retrofitted and decaled
Okay.
and prepared to go into service.
And what do you have an anticipated date yet for getting that into service? It's
Hopefully
probably hard
before
to
the end of
say.
the summer.
Yes, that's amazing. And now also the other vehicle we're going to look at is your mobile command center.
Well, that was
Where did that come from?
that was a beautiful story. So, when you have no money, you do a lot of praying and wishing and asking. And so, I was looking for this mobile command center, and I said to myself, "What business do I have looking for a mobile command center?" But I wanted one because you could charge your radios and have organize your funerals and have all the entities that are participating meet there and kind of map out how things are going to go. And so I found one in Denver, Colorado. This has been a national
Yes,
project.
it
right?
sounds like it.
So I and they were asking an exorbitant amount of money,
Uh-huh.
tens of thousands. And I said, you know what? Let me tell them my story. So I told them the story, and I spoke to the guy in charge of selling this vehicle, and he says, I'm going to talk to the board at the fire department, the chiefs and everybody. And so he did, and I thought that was a done deal. I figured I wasn't going to hear from them again because they wanted a lot of money for it. They had just put brand new tires on it as well, and this is all very costly. So I mentioned it to them, and about a week and a half later, I got a call, and I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" He says, "I talked to the board and the chief about what you're doing and what this is, and we want to donate it to you."
Wow.
So they donated this vehicle, and we went out there, me and a retired lieutenant from the FDNY as well. We flew out to Denver, and unbeknownst to us, they did a whole event. The press, the city, everybody was
Jesus.
there, and they had this vehicle ready for us, and they made sure everything was spot on, and we drove it back from Denver.
Wow, how
He
cool
and
is
I-
that?
It was a long trip,
Yes.
but we got back here, and it's, that's something we're working on too, so we can have that ready and available. So whenever we do
Excellent.
big funerals, we have a place to meet, and
Yes.
it's almost like a mobile billboard too, because it has all our information on the side, and
Of
it's
course.
really beautiful.
Yes.
And it's in each time, when you're doing charity and fundraising, nonprofit stuff, it can tend to be a little disheartening sometimes because everybody has their organization and everybody's trying to do, and so you work hard and you pray and you hope that it's going to be the next level. So every time something happens in a positive direction, you get a whole new, renewed
Enthusiasm. It's like a shot in the
enthusiasm.
arm. Yes.
And so, I am far from unenthused. I, I have been blessed many times over,
Well,
and so.
You come a long way with these vehicles
Yes,
alone.
sir. Yes, sir.
Stay with us. We're going to come right back, and then we're going to discuss your vision and some of the other capacities in which you assist the first responders' families. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Introducing Pacific Coast Capital, your partner in finance. We provide financing for your business. Speed, flexibility, and creativity are the foundation of our service. We'll help you navigate through change and opportunities. Our 90-plus years of experience ensures quick turnaround on loan decisions. Ride the wave to prosperity with us. Ready for new funding? Visit our website today at pacificcoastcap.com.
Welcome back, everyone, and I'd like to welcome back our guest today, Frank Pizarro, and I'd like to thank our sponsor, or one of our sponsors, Pacific Coast Capital. If you're a business and need some financial assistance, please reach out to Pacific Coast Capital. They'll be sure and help you out. So, Frank, let's get back to how you assist some of the first responders' families, and you touched on it earlier. And I noticed on your website you provide emotional support too. So now, do you have a team of caregivers, or are these volunteers, or?
Everybody is a volunteer. Everybody is giving from their heart and their
Wow.
time and their efforts and their expertise. And so we do provide counseling. We do provide services. Like, for example, when a widow loses her husband, or a husband loses his wife, it's a very difficult time, and sometimes very hard to make arrangements and to get your mind focused on
Yes.
what needs to get done. So we'd like to get together, and we supply a team to help them arrange those things and make their burden a little lighter.
Yes.
And so that's what we're really here to do, and to support them mentally and emotionally as well.
Yes, and that's got to be tough. You're having special volunteers that are willing to go and sit with somebody while they grieve and help them through that. As you said, making the arrangements for the funeral. So that's amazing that you've got volunteers on hand that you can just call at a moment's notice and say,
Yes,
I need
sir.
your help, and they'll be there.
Yes.
Bless their hearts for what they're doing. Now, you mentioned you also try and provide scholarships to some of the children who have lost
Sure.
their parents. Is there a means test for these kids, or the mere fact that they're the children of people who have sacrificed their lives?
Well, that's the number one thing, right?
Okay.
That they are children of those who have given their lives, and so along with that is they're going to school, that they are focused on what they're trying to do, and that's another way for us to take some of the burden off of the family.
Sure.
Because a lot of these funerals and arrangements can be very costly.
Yes.
And so we try to make it so they don't have to sacrifice the growth of the children because of financial means, or the lack thereof.
Sure.
So we do what we can to help them. The number one criteria is that they are the children of those who we have catered to, and we hope to be able to open them up to the community as well. But right now our focus is the children of those who have fallen.
Yes. How many have you actually given out so far?
We've given out actually 3.
3.
Yeah.
That's very heartwarming too, to know that you've done 12 services and 3 families you've supported financially through scholarships. Also, it says you organize some blood drives as well.
We
How
have-
often do you do those, and where do they happen?
Well, we've done 1 so far,
Okay.
and those are very moving and very emotional because we had this gentleman who was a firefighter, and he was diagnosed with lymphoma, and he needed a bone marrow transplant. And we did 3 drives for that same individual, and he did find a donor, and he is doing quite well.
Good.
So, we'd like to team up with other organizations that can provide these services and basically host them under our umbrella.
Nice, nice. Now, you have fundraising activities. You said, for school supplies. You mentioned you provide supplies to various schools. What kind of fundraising activities do you have, and how often do you have those?
Well, we have reached out to certain entertainment entities here, and I was an entertainer as well. So what we'd like to do is we like to have concerts, and we do fairs, and we do those kind of things, and we dedicate each particular event to a cause. And we have done some for school supplies and such, and people have been pretty responsive.
Yes.
So it's a very rewarding thing to be able to present something at the end of it and say, on behalf of Firefighter Memorial Transport and the community, we want to present this to you in the hope that we can contribute to the betterment of our youth.
Yes.
And so,
yes. We're going to take another little sponsorship break. When we come back, I'd like to talk about the first state fire museum that we're going to have right here in Nevada, that you've initiated.
Sure.
and started. So we'd like to talk about that when we come back. Please stay with us, and we'll be back in a few minutes' time.
At Lucia Capital Group, we've been helping people manage risk and plan for their future through some of the most challenging market conditions. Volatility in the stock market will never go away, so it's really all about your strategy and how you react to it. Our bucket strategy aims to help you manage your financial goals even during the most uncertain times. I'm Joshua Dowden. I've been working with clients here for more than 16 years, and I can help you as well. My office is right here in the heart of Summerlin, just north of Charleston Boulevard. Don't let the stock market determine the quality of your retirement. Call me today for a free consultation. 702-508-6421. That's 702-508-6421.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the program, and I'd like to thank Joshua Dowden of Lucia Capital Group for sponsoring this program. Very, very much appreciated. And I'd like to welcome back our guest today, Frank Pizarro, and very interested in what you've initiated, something else you've done, and you're giving back to the community. You're giving back all your life. You've never stopped. We're now going to have our first fire museum in the state of Nevada that you're initiating. And we have an artist rendition here on the screen for everyone to see. Sorry, not an artist rendition, the architect's rendition. When are they going to start construction on it, do you know? Or where's it going to be built? Has that been finalized
you know
yet?
better than I do.
Oh, okay.
So this is all based on what our donation situation is and our fundraisers. And they used to have a small little museum place way up north, but that's no longer, that's closed. And so this would be the first fire museum facility. And this would have, it's set up to have a full museum type space which has vintage fire trucks and police and veterans vehicles. It will have exhibits. There'll be a 9/11 exhibit, and there'll be some war exhibits and some police exhibits there. It also has a 16,000 square foot theater, which could be used for receptions and for fundraising events, shows. It also be used for a training facility that can be used on the second floor. There's a theater just as big as the one downstairs, and it'll be set up for lectures, any kind of training, executive offices on top, and in the rear will be a memorial type garden that has memorial walls like they do for Vietnam in Washington, D.C.,
Sure.
that have the names of the fallen veterans and police officers and firefighters. And it'll have a prayer garden and a fountain, and it'll be a place where the children could also go and learn
Sure.
fire safety and things like that, and they can learn about the departments and the veterans and the military, and because part of what's happening in the world today is ignorance, right? They don't know. They take for granted police, fire, and veterans, and those things are only so because they're not taught. And so the thing is to teach them about service to one's state, city, and country.
Yes.
And so that's my vision there. It sits on a 80,000 square foot footprint,
But it's going to be very, very worthwhile.
Oh, absolutely.
And apart from the exhibits, one thing I saw on your website that you mentioned that you are going to have safety training lessons.
That is correct.
And lectures and things like that.
That's right.
And I think that will be very important. What fantastic sort of school field trips.
Exactly.
Take school kids out to learn about safety at a fire museum.
And not only do they learn safety, but they learn honor
Yes,
and dedication.
absolutely.
And it'll be available to the local municipalities, so they can hold their training there.
Yes.
And of course the fire safety and 911 and all those good things to teach the kids. And it's something to see. They learn history as well.
Well, it's important. It's very important that they learn to recognize those that are giving their lives and giving everything, and putting their lives on the line as well.
And encourage them to want to do so as well.
Yes, give back to the community.
That's
Your life's calling.
That's right. That's right.
Have you applied for any government grants or to any corporations or veterans organizations? The VA department.
My hands hurt from all the writing,
all the
and
writing,
requesting,
grants.
And the reaching.
Have you got any? Have you got any nibbles yet from anybody or
nibbles
under review?
There's a plethora of nibbles.
Yes.
Everybody says it's a fantastic cause, so now we just got to get them to move on those, on their love for the heroes and the nobility of the cause, that they just give that little extra nudge towards making that move.
Sure.
Yeah. So.
I'm just making a little note here because there's an organization you might want to reach out to after this show that might be able to help out.
So there have been donors, and what we're looking now also, every cent counts. There's also these organizations, the bigger organizations that could probably give more, and so, I have no problem asking, and part of that is, I gave, and so I would love to see more people give and honor those. All of this is done on a volunteer basis.
Yes.
And nobody gets a dime, not even myself.
You mentioned that, and I was going to ask you about that further down. Is there a paid staff or is it manned by volunteers? But you already addressed that.
It's all volunteer.
It's all volunteers. Nobody
all
takes
volunteers.
a penny from it.
Because when you do it as a volunteer, you're doing it because you want to.
Yes. Yes.
It's really
Doing
easy
it
to
out
do
of
something
love.
when there's a financial gain, but when the only gain is the reward of giving,
Yes.
that's more important to me, because now I know your spirit is right.
Yes, the heart's in the right place. They're doing it from the heart. Right now, how does the organization, for getting aside applying for grants for this fire museum, how do you actually get funding? Are you getting any corporate funding from any of the local casinos or businesses? Or
Currently, no.
No?
Currently, no. I have solicited quite a few, and a lot of these organizations, the casinos and the Raiders and such, they have their own organizations and charities that they give to. Some have charities within the Raiders Foundation and those kind of things. So I'm constant communication.
Reaching out.
Always reaching out.
Yes.
That's really my main job currently, is reaching out.
Yes.
And so I just keep trudging forward.
Keep plugging away.
And keep plugging away.
away.
Keep plugging away.
Do you have any fundraisers coming up or events that you've got in the pipeline?
Well,
to-
I'm working on some projects now. A very good friend of mine, Mr. Tony Orlando,
Well, yes.
is I'm in
Go
talks
on.
with him, and I got a couple other celebrity friends that, you know, gonna help us
Up.
put some bigger things together,
Good.
because people like the bright shiny object, and they like things that they know. You know,
Yes.
it's and the thing with a foundation like this is that, like the Tunnels to Towers, for example, started off in a small thing and eventually built into something bigger. So my goal is to eventually become something that not only benefits the people in the valley, but nationally,
Yes.
to provide these kind of vehicles and these kind of services throughout.
Yeah.
So it could be something special that not only the people here, but around the whole nation get to be honored by.
Sure. Well, from small acorns, large oaks do grow. Isn't
That
that
is
what
correct.
they say?
That
So
is correct.
I fully believe that's going to happen.
And they drop more
with your
acorns and grow more oaks, right?
Absolutely. There you go.
There you have it.
If people want to donate to your organisation, please give us the information. I think John has something that he can put up on the screen.
He does.
With the QR code where
Right.
people can actually click. So let's put that on the screen now, if we can, please, John, and give that information. Okay, so that will be out there, and hopefully you'll get some people to donate to your organisation. And we'd also like to put up your website and your phone number contact if people want to go and visit your website. It's a very, very powerful website, everybody, to go and check this out. Please give us that information so we can have it.
All right, so it's Firefighter Memorial Transport.org.
Okay.
So it's Firefighter Memorial Transport.org, and the number is 646-578-7273. That's 646-578-7273.
Okay. So just before you go, I'm assuming that the biggest challenge you have right now is getting the funding for these projects.
Yes, very much so.
And I'm sure you'll get there, Frank. You've got
Oh.
a passion and a heart for this.
And faith.
And
That's
faith.
that's what I have. I know that when you're doing the right thing, good things come.
And well, it's happened so far. You've got your fire truck vehicles, you've got your veterans one. You're in the process of getting your police
And who would have
funding
thought?
down.
With,
Yes.
with what?
Yes, and look where they all came from, as you said. Oklahoma and Colorado, and was it New Jersey?
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
So
yes,
if
I
you
got it
can
right.
have all of these things with nothing,
Yes,
imagine what you could have
can do.
when everybody contributes and grows
Yeah.
this thing. Because it's not just, I'm speaking now because we're in the grassroots of this, right?
Yes.
But I'm not a big fan for being in the camera.
No.
So my goal is for this to carry itself and to become something on its own that people recognize and honor and contribute to and help build something to honor those who have given everything.
It'll happen. Frank, thanks so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure and a privilege and an honor to have you as a guest.
Same here.
And
Thank you for
thank
your
you
time.
so much. And I hope you've all enjoyed this program. I'd also like to thank John Stiles, the show's producer and station owner, WWDBTV. And I'd like to thank our sponsors, Lucia Capital Group and Pacific Coast Capital, and Ralph John Champion, my business partner. You'll see his message at the end of this program. And lastly, but certainly by no means least, I'd like to thank you, the viewer, for tuning in and staying with us today through this program. I hope you will find this cause a very, very worthy one, worthy of your support. And if you have any comments or questions, please reach out to me at stephen@thegiftofgiving.vegas, and hopefully we'll see you next week. In the meantime, please stay safe, be kind to one another, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Mr. R.J. Champion is proud to sponsor WWDB-TV's series, The Gift of Giving, and wishes the program much success. Congratulations and gratitude to the featured guests and the organizations they represent. Our community is well served by your tireless efforts to make Nevada a better state for all its residents.